All right, we are recording now.
Sounds good.
We are officially recording.
We are officially recording.
How much percent of the test does that go to our second quarter grade?
20%.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not part of your second quarter grade.
The one we took in November. It's your semester grade.
Your first quarter is 40%. Your
No,
second
the
quarter.
Test. Remember that test we took?
Oh.
Yeah, the test.
The test test.
Yeah, the one we took in November.
I don't know. I haven't totaled up the number of points.
Is it worth
I don't weigh test heavier than anything else. Everything is just worth points. Everything's just worth points, and
That's gonna be on YouTube.
like deer in
Yes, it's going on YouTube. You're like,
so
Jamie's gonna walk. Jamie's like raw meat for this one.
Alrighty. Questions. You can ask me questions about the essay, multiple choice, whatever you want to ask me questions on.
Well, this is kind of on the side. What are we doing tomorrow? Are we working
Review.
on the outline? Okay.
Yeah, we
The
can.
following teachers please go to the special ed department: David Harvey, Peter Kingsbury, Martha Glenn, Stephanie McCumber, Julie Janowski, Jenny Cheetah. David Harvey, Peter Kingsbury, Martha Glenn, Stephanie McCumber, Julie Janowski, Jenny Cheetah. Please all go to the special ed department.
Thank you, Gracie. What's the essay on? What were you
Like
making
throw
your
for.
introduction?
I literally think that.
It's all about the
Yeah, you were like saying.
Alright,
Wait,
so
does it
method
have
of
to be-
cultural diffusion
Can your
is
questions, do your questions have to be on the DBQ and the
neutral,
essay?
like, here,
I
look
feel
at
like
this.
New
Grab
Year's
it,
Eve
use
is
it.
like coming up.
Paragraph
We already had
Civilization
not January, like,
civilization.
Wait, do we have double science tomorrow?
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
but it's like an A day with period 8 tomorrow.
So, like, do you not have double science?
No, it just goes
Like,
lesson
if you,
1.
your
Yeah,
lab
so
drops.
like, let's say
So you'll have a free whenever you have your lab. So I have lab 7 and I have
Yes,
school
I
at
have
8.
first period free.
What if you have
Okay, I have 7
then
lab,
that
8
you help for 8 core?
I don't think so.
7
So I have
lab.
double science 8 and 5. So I have during one.
So I
Wait, what is your lab? What is your lab that you No, listen.
Probably 5.
Do you guys know what the essay is on?
Here, it's like,
What
Jeannie, you have 5 free. Jeannie,
so it's like 1, 2, 3.
you have 5 free.
You guys realize that all of that was recorded?
What? Yeah, we're talking about tomorrow's schedule.
Okay.
Wait, what is tomorrow's schedule?
1 through 8.
But
Just in order.
What if you have health first?
Oh, it's a day F
They go
for
Oh, wait.
gym and health.
And double science.
So I don't have,
So
like
yeah,
my
Kate,
health
you
is
have
a
double
free.
science.
So my health is a free, like I have period 1 free tomorrow. So, but period 1's first, so I have a sleep in?
So
No, we
if
have double science today.
Wait, so you only picked 4
so it's just like a regular-
documents or like 3 documents?
Wait, so it's a regular day F?
no,
To put in the, or you do all of them.
you have to do all documents, but you have 3 paragraphs.
How does the day go tomorrow?
Oh my gosh.
1 through 8 in order.
What if I,
Guys, we are recording this. Let's-
Guys, seriously, 1 through 8 in order. Go online if you need further assistance. All right. Questions on multiple choice or essay? I will take either.
Wait, I'm just going to this.
Andrew,
Yeah, Miss Goldhog, what's the Chinese folk religion?
that would be the whole like talking about the ancestor worship,
Okay.
the spirits. Remember we said Mulan and Mushu, the dragon, was an example of that one.
Wait, so like what is it? It's just like.
The
Worshipping
Chinese folk
ancestors.
spirit, the folk religion, it's about ancestor worship. And so, have you seen the movie Mulan?
Yeah.
The religion of Mulan is the Chinese folks' religion.
How they pray to her, like,
Yeah, and they've got like the feng shui for like how you set up things in your room. But the important thing is ancestor worship, because if you didn't have that, why else would Confucius come later on with his philosophy and say, you know, respecting your elders is important.
So
It comes out of that
essentially-
tradition.
Wild piety?
It comes out of the tradition of having the ancestor worship.
so the essay is on cultural diffusion?
Yes.
Okay.
And what is cultural diffusion?
Cultural diffusion is the spread of ideas through trade, migration, and warfare.
Through what?
through trade, migration, and warfare.
So, Ms. Goldhawk,
Your hands are like trembling.
Yeah.
Free trade, war.
No, through trade.
Oh, through trade.
Yep. You didn't have free trade back then. Through trade, migration, and warfare.
Yeah, this is not working.
Those are your three methods.
And cultural diffusion is when two or more cultures come together.
Yes, and they share ideas, and ideas are spread. Yes.
so if we're doing like 3 months, what should we ask then should each should the warfare, trade, and migration?
Those would be your body paragraphs. Yep.
All right, so for
Chad, is this it?
the outline, you read through the DBQ questions, find two that you want to use and put them in here.
No.
Guys, quiet.
All right. The essay.
Yeah, I'm confused.
You must use all 8 documents. You have 5 civilizations you have to connect through cultural diffusion. You've got some civilizations that connected through trade, some that connected through warfare, some that connected through migration. So you need to pick 2 or 3 civilizations to put into each paragraph, and you must use 2 or 3 of these stories to prove that connection happened.
All right.
The maps that occur later on, the information you're bringing from what you've learned, that's coming, that's like where you explain how cultural diffusion happened. Like going back to the flood stories. Babylon invades Israel, takes them all over as slaves. So warfare is the method. You talk for a sentence or 2 about the war, and then you go into the flood stories and you say, you know, we can tell that cultural diffusion happened here. There's a sharing of ideas because in the flood stories there are similarities that are very specific, such as the type of bird that lands on a mountain to indicate that land has been found, the number of days that the flood occurs,
So
that they're looking for things. So my first suggestion is you go to the end where I have the graphic organizers. You read the stories, you put the similarities from each of the stories in here and indicate which civilizations have those similarities. Then you go to the second one. Which civilizations had migration? Which civilizations traded with one another? Which ones fought against one another? And with the 2 graphic organizers, you'll figure out, okay, which civilizations do I want to talk about in my essay, and which documents am I going to use as my evidence?
That makes it so much easier.
Can we bring all of these?
You're allowed to bring all of that to the exam.
Like this whole midterm DBQ cultural.
You can bring the entire packet, including your graphic organizers and the completed outline.
Can we
Is it
write
possible
on
to
like the
wirelessly
S
print
on the
document?
DBQs and stuff?
If you want to write little notes, yes, but everything should be in your outline.
Wait, so
Okay.
do you just, okay, say you read one of the documents, you put it in that format right there? Like, I don't get that, like, little format thing.
All right, so for instance, the whole,
Chad, what was her name?
I'm gonna see if it works.
I wasn't able to get the printer to work earlier. You're more than welcome to try.
What's it
All right.
called? Is it
It's
called?
HS Cal 1. All right, so going to the flood stories. Bird on mountain to indicate land. And I do things like that.
Wait, so you circle that because that's where it happened?
Because like
Right.
it was shared between
Chaos.
those 2 like civilizations.
Is the beginning.
I can go grab it. and-
That's Egypt, India, Greece. So I do things like that.
Are those actual examples?
Then
It's this one.
I continue on down here. Who migrated where? Well, you have the Aryans to India. You have Buddhists to China, Mesopotamia. For trade, we have Egypt, Greece, Egypt, Mesopotamia. warfare. We have Mesopotamia via Babylon, Israel. Oh, Egypt, Israel is also in migration. You've got,
It's okay. Thank you.
so Mesopotamia, Israel, you have Greece, Mesopotamia. And so what you then have to do is figure out, okay, once I've got that, I go back up over here and figure out, okay, which ones do I have evidence that matches? So I've got Mesopotamia and Israel here, so maybe I do that with the warfare. I have Egypt, India, and Greece here, so I can pick any one of the ones down here that have Egypt, Greece, Greece, India, Egypt, India. So that's how you want to go about figuring out which pieces of evidence. Because you have to use 2 of the stories in each of your body paragraphs. Because they're your evidence that cultural diffusion happened.
Like each document is a story?
The first 5 documents are stories. You have to use at least 2 of them in each paragraph. Because the maps don't prove cultural diffusion happens, the maps only prove that contact occurred. The stories prove that ideas were spread. Because why else would they have the extreme similarities that they do? Okay? You kind of get how you have to use the stories a lot.
Yeah.
The maps can be in your introduction. You can have it in the first part of your body paragraph where you're talking about the migration that happened.
Can we use these examples that you're using right here? Or do you want us to come up with our own?
There are only so many combinations.
Sure.
Wait,
So for the DBQ, we're going to end up finding one more example of trade and one more example of warfare. Like when we read those 8 documents.
Yeah, I mean, I showed you one for warfare, so you need to come up with migration, you come up with trade.
Right.
So your body paragraphs are your 3 methods. You pick 2 or more civilizations. So that's why if you look at the outline, that line beside like body paragraph number 1, number 2, number 3, that's for you to write trade, migration, warfare. You come up with a topic sentence, you tell me which civilizations you're going to pair together. That additional information is what information have you learned in class? So Babylon invades Israel. That's what would go in that additional information. And then below that, which documents are you using and what are you going to pull out of the documents? So the fact that you're pulling out chaos starts off creation. If you wanted to take a look at Egypt and Greece and India. That's how the outline is set up. Okay? You do not have to use this outline. You can create another outline if you want to that puts it in an order that you think is more helpful to you in terms of writing. This, I just broke down all the different sections that you need. It's not necessarily in the order that you would write it.
Okay.
So you could even take this and reorder it if you want to. Totally up to you. But I wanted to give you at least a sample outline.
Like for war, could you put like the Greeks with like Sparta?
Well, it's not Greeks with Sparta
Both,
because they're both in Greece. But you could do Greece with Persia because Persia's in Mesopotamia.
All right.
But you have to find stories that I gave you that match up with that.
Also,
So that's why I said you've got this graphic organizer to figure out how did all the civilizations connect with one another, and then you've got to figure out, well, how do all my similarities in the stories match up with the pairings?
Okay.
Okay? You could bring in additional documents if you wanted to, additional stories if you wanted to. However, you must use the 8 documents that you've been provided.
Okay.
So you may use more if you want to, but you have to use the ones that have been given to you.
Okay.
Couldn't you say that Sparta fought with Athens though?
They're both Greek.
but they're both Greek in terms of the civilization.
True.
So in terms of
not
cultural
fighting between
diffusion,
different civilizations.
Right.
That makes sense.
yeah.
Nothing really spread.
And again, look at the creation stories I gave you. Unless you're going to go out and find others
Yeah.
and talk about more than 8 documents, I would stick with the pairings that match up with what you've got. Yes,
The 8 that you gave us, do we have to use all of them or just?
all of them. You must use all documents in your essay. The failure to use one bumps you all the way down to a B.
That is just awful.
That's rough. Are we using quotes from them or just?
You may use quotes, you may paraphrase. Obviously, when you're talking about the maps, you need to describe it. But you do not have to write a direct quote from it. You can just pull out pieces. Like for me saying, in documents 1, 4, and 5, the Egyptian, Indian, and Greek creation stories all start with chaos in the beginning,
Okay.
before land is made, before humans are made. So I've described what's in it without quoting it. But I've used the document. So a more efficient use of time is to paraphrase. If you're busy copying over a direct quote, you may be using more time than you want to.
Okay.
Would you scroll down? Just so I can see the last warfare one. Alright.
Other questions? Essay or multiple choice?
Is the multiple
That
choice
answers a lot of questions.
just over everything we learned?
Pretty much.
What about how we did the water thing in the beginning of the year?
Yes.
Um,
Need for water is on it.
So are you just gonna ask multiple choice about that? How is cultural diffusion?
Well, it's not cultural diffusion for need for water. For need for water, it was why did civilization start up around water? How did it influence the creation of job specialization?
So it's you're gonna be asking what religions or not religions, what communities and stuff started the Nile people and Egyptians.
Right, and I could ask you about irrigation ditches,
Okay.
those 4 images of the Noria, the Shadoof. I could ask you which civilization they're from.
Okay.
What about the Star? Are you gonna have anything based on the Star Wars?
The Star Wars questions, I don't have anything directly with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's more the religions that we covered with it. Buddhism, Hinduism, Confucianism.
So would you be what does the Force represent?
Yeah, I could ask a question in
what
terms
force would
of
be the religion.
what religions influenced Star Wars.
Okay.
I'll probably ask more broad like that, because I understand watching Star Wars and getting all the different religions is easier and harder for people.
Okay.
So I ask kind of broad questions with that. Do go back over all the religions that we studied in the textbook. So Hinduism, Buddhism, Confucianism. So all your Indian religions, all your Chinese religions, Greek philosophy, Chinese philosophy, the other religions and world interactions like Christianity, we're not testing on just yet. So you've got kind of your ancient Egyptian, Mesopotamian, Judaism.
The ones that we focused on solely.
Yeah, the ones that you actually read about in your textbook.
Okay.
We discussed as a class. Those are the religions.
What does the Force represent?
Like Buddhism.
Remember, with both Buddhism and Hinduism, you've got with Hinduism you have the one Brahmin who's huge. With Buddhism, you just have the whole universe, and your final goal is enlightenment, where you join the universe. Well, with the Force, it's all around us, and when you end up dying, like Obi-Wan did in the movie that we watched, Obi-Wan became one with the Force. He became one with the universe.
But he was still alive, and he was,
as if he had reached enlightenment in Buddhism.
Okay.
So he was done with life.
Yeah, but I'll ask you a more broad question, such as out of the following religions listed, which ones influenced the creation of the Star Wars mythology?
And that'd be Buddhism and...
Yeah, it would be all of your Oriental religions and philosophies.
Okay.
On the day of the test, are we spending like 45 minutes on the essay and then 45 minutes on multiple choice? Or like how?
It depends. Each class gets to vote as to whether or not they want to do the multiple choice first or write first. I know I didn't have a vote for period 3, but period 6, I believe, voted to write first and then do multiple choice.
No,
So
I'd rather do the essay.
So I will at guys. So at 45 minutes, I give the warning saying we are halfway through. If you are like in the process of wrapping up your essay, you can continue on, and then I will give you your multiple choice when you turned in the essay. Yeah, I'm not going to like yank it away from you.
Okay.
But I will strongly urge you that you should be wrapping up and at least thinking about moving over to the multiple choice.
Okay.
If period 3, we haven't had the vote yet,
Okay.
if you guys vote to do multiple choice first, same deal. At 45 minutes, I give the warning saying you should probably think about wrapping up your multiple choice and start working on the essay. Because the multiple choice is worth half, the essay is worth half.
Oh,
So it would make sense to kind of split your time.
Okay.
Okay?
Is it like when it's over, like when it's like time to go, it's like pencils down, like everybody, or are you allowed to just like, if like...
I will allow you to complete a thought, but otherwise it's pencils down.
Okay.
There's no going into that 30-minute kind of passing time, nor do we stay after. If someone has extended time, I will deal with that individually with that student.
Besides the Hindu and Egyptian creation stories, what other one starts in like the darkness?
Greek?
Yeah, the Greece one. It says like God's sight and full of violence.
Yep.
In document 3.
So are we only doing
The ones that are
questions,
creation.
or can we go into
Into what questions?
like Greek mythology?
That's on the midterm, so what do you want to know?
Well, I was just
So like, see how she has that up there? Like the creation story, it says like everything began with chaos. So you like put chaos, and then that started like Mesopotamia and Greece.
Are we gonna have to memorize the pharaohs?
No, like the big ones, like Hatshepsut, like any of the ones that we actually like really mentioned in class. Remember, Hatshepsut was the king, the queen who would be king. So I would expect you to know like the big ones, like Ramses.
And those
expanded.
Are in the books, right?
Those are all in the textbook.
All right. And then
you do not need to know a ruler if the ruler does not show up in your textbook.
okay. And then the Are You What You Eat? What are we doing with that?
Are you what you eat? Trying to think what questions I have on there about that. I think the only questions I have about Are You What You Eat are in connection with the food and water crisis.
Okay.
Basically, like how is the scarcity of food and the scarcity of water affecting groups worldwide?
Okay.
So the fact that we don't have a lot of water, we've got a rice shortage. The fact that we've got a food crisis, it's driving up wheat prices.
Okay.
The development of ethanol, which is primarily made out of corn and sugar, is diverting food sources. That's pretty much it.
So nothing huge.
Nothing huge, nothing about a specific country.
Okay.
Well, you know, there are those 3 big bubbles on the bottom, but there are also those little ones with the circles with all like the little arrows going off to different things. Could I, for one of those, talk about warfare, like Greece and Greece and Mesopotamia, Greece and Persia, and Greece and Israel, or Mesopotamia and Israel? Could I do that for one of those, and then?
Are you talking about the one that's above this?
Yeah.
The one that's above that is only for you to write similarities of the stories.
Alright. Oh, alright.
I'm afraid my hard drive is crashing.
That's unfortunate.
Yes, it is.
Do you have a stapler by any chance?
On my desk.
In the Hebrew story of the Genesis flood, does that count as like the beginning being full of chaos? Because it says like there's violence and everything? Or no?
The flood story happens after creation. Creation would be the story of Adam and Eve.
So the so like everything beginning in chaos would be just Egypt and Greece.
in India.
You're out of state.
What are we gonna need to?
There's another one on my desk as well.
What are?
Look over on top of the video, so
Oh,
No.
Chad, it's like right
to your right.
next to you, to your right.
To your right again.
Over there, right next
Come
to
on.
me.
Come on.
What are we gonna need to know about Greek mythology?
Greek mythology, know that it's a polytheistic religion. They have a pantheon of gods, which means that the gods have their own hierarchy. Zeus is at the top.
Pantheon means all gods or something, right?
Hmm?
Doesn't pantheon mean all gods or something? Or many gods?
Isn't that
No,
literally all-
polytheistic means there are
Oh,
many
yeah.
gods. The fact that there's a pantheon means, yes, you have a lot, but there's also a hierarchy.
Sodom and Rome, that's what.
Yeah. So, know that Athena got picked to be the patron goddess of Athens because of the whole,
like
she gave the oil, the olive tree. So, but I'm not going to ask about like specific gods too much.
Oh, so you just want to know about like the really big ones, like Zeus and like all them, like Zeus, Hades,
Zeus, Athena, Hades, god of the underworld.
Poseidon. He's not as big as Zeus.
The only thing that you need to know about Poseidon is that he's the one that went with Athena to try and become the patron
And Athena wanted you.
god. And,
Yeah, but would you also need to know like the Medusa story about him? No.
No. Fun for Clash of the
Snake-
Titans,
the
the
Snake
movie,
Girl.
but not necessary for our class.
She like,
Snakehead girl.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The reason that she has snaky heads is because
She was too beautiful. Athena was upset.
Jealous.
that Poseidon like wanted her
Yep.
instead of her, so she made her have snakes.
But yeah, you don't need to know an awful lot about the Greek mythology.
Because it kind of went by fast. The girl that was
Yes.
teaching it to us.
I did put that PowerPoint up on Moodle,
Okay.
so it's up
Sure.
there. I believe I've got every PowerPoint that's been shown to you guys by me or Miss Casano up there.
You guys have a highlight.
Mm-hmm.
What was that website where you had those creation stories? Like,
Oh, bigmyth.com. Some of them are free and available, others are not. If you need to watch one that is not available online, let me know, and I can show it to you. Because I own the CD-ROM that shows all of them.
So for the one that we're talking about with like the relationships, like there's the one that we already talked about, like all starting in darkness, and then could you connect one like through gods and stuff if like cultures were like
You need
polytheistic
to
or-
read the documents.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Like, other stuff.
Any similarity they see. Polytheistic is not enough.
Not enough.
No. You need it to be specific in that you have a god or goddess in both religions that does something very, very specific. And they represent the same people. Like, if you take a look, if I'm remembering correctly, Athena in Greek mythology is Minerva in Roman, because Rome basically took Greek mythology and just gave everyone Roman names. So you'd have to look for something very, very specific. What I suggest you do is, as you go through and read the creation stories, pick out numbers, animals, situations that are unique to the story, in that you're like, oh, that sounds important. And then if you come across it in the other creation stories, that's what you're looking at.
You're kind of like making like an educated guess, kind of like, oh, these are similar, so they might have
Right.
like had.
Yeah, because we have absolutely no idea
Yeah.
when these were actually written.
Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah, this is not absolute proof. We do not know when they were written, but it suggests that ideas were communicated, and perhaps it might have influenced the particulars of a story.
So you're kind of grading us on like how we back up what we say is cultural fusion.
Yeah, I want to know. Do you actually know how these civilizations are connected with one another? Can you read a document and pull out the information? And can you articulate it well in an essay?
Yeah, perfect.
That's what I'm looking for.
I'm so bad at this one.
What do we need to know about Alexander the Great?
I'm so bad at
Alexander the Great, you need to know that he comes from Macedonia. that he conquered and basically developed the largest land empire of ancient times.
Do we have to know
Largest.
what land he conquered?
Largest land empire.
And empire.
Mesopotamia.
Yeah, he went through all of Greece, Egypt, Persia, through Mesopotamia, got stopped in India by the monsoons.
So Greece, Persia, Mesopotamia.
Egypt got stopped got stopped right on the border with India because of the monsoons.
He conquered the largest empire and
Yes, and so he is the founder of the Hellenistic world.
in where?
The Hellenistic world. Hellenistic world means that he combined Greek and Egyptian culture and spread it all over the place.
So, Greek and what? Sorry.
Egyptian. Because remember, when he conquered Egypt, instead of becoming its king, he became its pharaoh, and he adopted Egyptian culture. Well, as he went around and created all of his little Alexandrias, they were primarily Greek, but there were a lot of Egyptian influences. So he took the best out of those two cultures, spread it around the world, saying, yes, this is the best.
Would you say that if some creation stories include darkness and chaos, could you make those two separate things, or would they sort of fall?
No, they would be together.
And what countries did he go through? Egypt,
Greece,
Mesopotamia.
Persia.
Greek. Mesopotamia.
Persia. Well, Persia's part of Mesopotamia, but mention it specifically because of the fact that the king Darius was one of his big enemies,
Okay.
and then he got stopped on his way into India by a monsoon
Got it.
and had to turn around.
And what's a monsoon?
Like a
Monsoon are the seasonal rainstorms that come into India.
Oh, right.
Can either flood them out or it can provide life-giving rain that allows lots of food to grow.
So the rest of the year just not really rain?
It can rain a little bit, but the monsoons, depending on which season, it determines which direction they go in. And so when we actually start talking about the Indian Ocean Trade Network during medieval times, you'll see that ships actually used the seasonal monsoon rains. So when it was flowing towards India, they would take their ships to India, and then when it would start flowing away, they'd ride those winds back to Africa.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For where it says the geography, did know where those rivers and stuff are?
Yes, on a map.
They're all sort of in the same place.
I will, on a map, have the letters that correspond with your Scantron, and I will ask you, where is the Nile River?
And there'll be like
Egypt.
a B there or something.
Yep.
So
Okay.
if you say where's the Nile River, and you'll have India, and you can say Egypt.
No,
Where did it go?
it is physically on a map. There will be a letter that corresponds to the Scantron, so A, B, C, D, or E,
Yeah.
on top of the river,
All right, that makes complete sense.
and so you need to identify which river is which.
Is there a book in the textbook that kind of had
Yeah, like a section.
really displays all?
If you can
Or can we like
Um,
go over that now?
just
you-
look up
You know, I gave you a map packet at the beginning of the year.
I still have that.
Yeah,
Me
I think I
too.
do.
All the rivers are in there,
Alright.
and I'm pretty darn sure we actually identified those rivers when we did the need for water.
I do remember this.
I believe so. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right.
Wait, is this like
Yeah.
packet?
Yes, it's that packet. There is a map.
Is it this one, you guys?
This one?
No, flip to another one. That's the world. Oh, maybe we didn't, because I'm seeing. Yep.
Is it
Yeah.
the Asian one?
Okay.
I have the map.
Are we gonna do that tomorrow or something?
Well, we'll go over that tomorrow in class.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, no, I have it. Look.
Where?
Yeah, we filled ours in partially.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on that one?
Those black lines. The
Oh, it's the
nine.
blank one.
Which where?
This one?
Here, look, just kind of like go off.
That one. So maybe I did it with one class but not the other.
But I'm in Chad's class too.
We'll go over it and we'll go over it tomorrow. So just make sure you bring
Oh, I
your
did do it.
your packet.
Yeah, you're in the same
We'll do
class.
it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, mine.
Yeah, I leave a couple.
It's
That's
this
not the
one.
one. This
Mine's
one's
blank
different.
out. I don't
Wait.
think we did that in my class.
It's like got a brownish back. Oh yeah, I do have it right there.
Okay.
I don't think my class.
So this is the yellow.
Mine's blank.
No, it's flipped to the one that she's showing you.
It's like.
It's actually for the.
Right there.
Oh, we
You
did
have
do
it too.
it.
Yeah,
Good. I'm glad that my memory isn't completely faulty.
yeah. As soon as you said Matt Pack,
I kind of thought that we did during Need for Water, but I wasn't positive.
Wait, right here. Is it?
Can we bring this?
This one is the
You cannot bring that.
Euphrates, no. This one's the Euphrates. This one's the Tigris.
Yep.
Okay, but they're both like attached right there.
Yes.
And okay, so they just lead off each other.
Yeah.
I'm saying I was in the rings of
Do we need to know like the Fertile Crescent?
The Fertile Crescent is AKA Mesopotamia.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh well, why?
It's called the Fertile Crescent because we believe that is where civilization started.
Where's the Aegean Sea?
Wait, Fertile Crescent
The
is
Aegean Sea is in between Greece and Asia Minor.
So it's like.
That's
right-
where they.
Is it above Turkey?
That's where they planned that like whole.
Yeah, it's that
scale,
whole area between Turkey and Greece.
That's where they huge attack.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Battle of Salamis was in the Aegean Sea.
Wait, I'm just gonna put this.
Wait, so what do we have to know about the Fertile Crescent? Nothing?
You just need to know about Mesopotamia.
Okay.
Don't worry about the maps right now, other than where the rivers, where the
You're gonna
oceans,
see the map hacker.
And the mountains.
and the mountains. Hindu Kush, Himalayas.
Wait, do we need to know where these seas are? Like the Aegean Sea? Do we need to know that?
Yeah,
Yes.
they got, like, a stream on
What other things do we need to know about seas?
Anyone have the study guide handy?
I have it.
Oh wait, I have
All right.
the one that we got for
So
this
yes.
one.
So which seas did I say? Aegean.
Okay, wait. Rivers, mountains.
Aegean Sea, Mediterranean Sea,
Wait, where is this?
Adriatic Sea, and important for trade.
All right. So Indian Ocean obviously is by India. Mediterranean is that.
Jody Picheri, if you're in the building, please call 4672. Jody Picheri, please call 4672.
All right. So the Mediterranean is the big sea that's between Europe and Africa. The Aegean is between Greece and Asia Minor, aka Turkey. The Adriatic, because it's got an I in it, that means that's the sea that's between Greece and Italy.
Oh, Italy.
Oh.
Remember I
That's
said
the Adriatic.
the Adriatic, because it has an I in it, you know that that's the sea between Greece and Italy. The Aegean, no I, so that's the one that's between Greece and Turkey.
Does it matter if you spell it wrong, or will it?
I will have the spellings.
Oh, okay.
So you literally just have to bubble A, B, C, D, or E.
No, it's just multiple choice and the essay, right? It's not like short answer.
No short answer. Only multiple choice and essay.
What are we gonna need to know about the Paleolithic and Neolithic?
You need to know the characteristics of the Paleolithic versus Neolithic.
So like the
Like your chart that you've got
Okay.
right there.
With the Tigris and the Euphrates, you just have to memorize which is which since they're right next to each other.
Euphrates, because it is longer of a word that you can think of it as being heavier, it's going to be the one that's below. I come up with all sorts of stupid ways to remember where seas and rivers
Yeah,
are.
there's like
I can't just like memorize.
Mnemonics
what
are my
some people can.
favorite
like
thing.
at one point in my Spanish class, I remembered like a word because like I like the first letter started with F, and then I remembered the floor, and I like.
Yeah.
So how much, like percent wise, like, or is it multiple choice versus the essay? Like, is
Multiple choice is 50%, essays for 50%.
Alright, that's easy.
Are we gonna like go over this and like?
I will talk about it more tomorrow in
Oh,
class.
okay.
You guys have 4 minutes, and then it's done.
I think
At least for
I
today.
got all my questions answered.
I got my questions
I have it.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much,
Mark?
Mrs. Goldhawk.
I just haven't really
Okay.
done it.
We'll study some more first period
All right,
tomorrow.
guys.
Just check in with
Let's go to math.
Check my guard. And if he says it's okay, come on down.